Hey guys, it is me, 80 Sorted guys. So you guys, we're back for UEFA Champions League Matchday 6 predictions. Now I know some of you guys are thinking, hold up. You haven't done Matchday 1s to Matchday 5 predictions. So why on earth are you going to do Matchday 6? Well, I have been doing the predictions, however, I haven't made YouTube videos about it. And now I've decided, you know what, I'm going to make my YouTube video about Matchday 6. And if you guys want to join the league, you guys can feel free to do so. I will put the link in the description below the league. This is where I'll be using for the gaming hub, and I will be doing the same platform for the Europa League and Europa Conference League, respectively. We'll be predicting Matchday 6 here, and of course, all the games will be predicted, and we'll talk about each game. Now, obviously, there'll be some games where basically it's a dead rubber. There isn't really much to discuss about there, but we'll still do a prediction anyway. So let's start with Group A, guys. Group A, we have the early kickoff in RB Leipzig versus Manchester City, and this is a really interesting match. The odds are heavily favor of Manchester City there. And let me minimize my screen so you guys can see the table there. Should be a better viewing there. Okay, now you guys can see. Now, in my personal opinion, this is a big game. This is a big game for RB Leipzig. There's a lot of pressure on RB Leipzig right now. There's a lot of reports stating that Jesse Marsch could be sacked, which could be very bad. Very, very bad. Leipzig haven't been doing too well in the league. They've been conceding so many goals, and they just cannot seem to defend. That's the problem with Leipzig. And City has been on imperious form in the Champions League. They have been very, very good in the Champions League, Manchester City. Now, keep in mind, though, Manchester City have already qualified to the round of 16. This game is basically dead rubber for them. This is everything to play for Leipzig. Leipzig needs to get a win here for this match. And yeah, it's a big one. And there's pre-match insights. I'm not gonna go over every single one because that's gonna take forever. But you guys can check the pre-match insights here on your own viewing. And it's gonna be really interesting here because I just really feel like for me, guys, RB Leipzig needs to win this match. It needs to win this match. And if they do win this match, they put themselves in a great position for that third place spot because this group is basically coming down to the battle of third place between them and Club Brugge. Now, keep in mind they do have a superior head to head, so the head to head thing doesn't really matter. So that if they draw and Club Brugge draw, they will go through. Okay, and yeah, for this game though, I think City will use their B team. I think City will use their B team. They will not prioritize this game too much because the not Champions League, they have bigger tests lie ahead in the month of December. We know how brutal the Premier League is for the English teams, and they have Wolves coming up at home. And then they have Leeds at home, then Newcastle on the road, then Leicester City, and then Brentford. I mean, these are tough games, man. These are tough games, and City needs to make sure they have their squad replenished indeed, and they have a very deep squad indeed. So it's going to be very interesting to see how City manages to handle this period because we know the December period can be very hectic for teams in particular. That said, though, I am going to say that this game will end in a draw. I just think that Manchester City, they have too much quality, even in their reserve team, their B team. And I just think for Leipzig in particular, it's just going to be the Achilles heel. I think the defense will be their Achilles heel in this game, and I could see City putting them a lot of pressure. But I think Leipzig will hold for a draw in this game. I could see City scoring through Raheem Sterling. I think he'll be starting for them, and I think for RB Leipzig, I could see like a Willie Orban or Nkunku scoring the decisive goal to make it 1-1, and which should theoretically be enough. Okay, now so yeah, let me just put my prediction here: 1-1 draw. Okay, 1-1 draw. Moving on. We got the other game. We got PSG versus Club Brugge. Now this one for me, even though PSG have nothing to really play for, Club Brugge I just haven't been impressed with them in the Champions League. They start off the Champions League thing such a great way by getting victories by getting a draw against PSG at their turf and then getting a away victory at Leipzig in Germany. Very, very impressive indeed. However, I gotta say, man, Club Brugge ever since then they have been very, very poor in the Champions League. They conceded 5 to Leipzig at home. They conceded 4 on the road. They conceded 5 at home. This team has been conceding so many goals. This team is just cannot. This team is defensively really, really frail, man. They've conceded 16 goals in Champions League, and even though PSG have been very underwhelming this season in the Uber Eats and even in League One as well, I still do think PSG should win this game. I still think PSG should win this game. Even though, as I said, PSG have theoretically nothing to really play for. I still think PSG will win this game simply because, as I said, Club Brugge are just terrible with their defensiveness, and I can't see Club Brugge keeping a clean sheet here in this one. I think PSG will at least score one, and I'm going to go for a safe 2-0 win from PSG here. I cannot see Club Brugge. Even against a reserve team, I don't think Club Brugge will do anything, despite them getting a draw early in the turf. I just think earlier at their stadium, I just think that Club Brugge have fallen off. They have fallen off. They haven't been the same and have conceded way too many goals. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for PSG to keep things short and sweet. So yeah, let's move on over to Group B. Okay. Now this is where things get interesting. So we're gonna go ahead and go to Group B. We're gonna talk about Milan versus Liverpool. Now this is probably the big matchup. Group B is very interesting. Liverpool have already qualified to the round of 16 with 15 points. They're guaranteed to the top of the group. And now we have a battle between them and Liverpool. And now Milan have to basically win the match. Now keep in mind that Liverpool have already qualified to the round of 16, and they'll most likely use their B team. And because we all know how we all know how Liverpool's teams are. We know how hectic the Premier League schedule can be in the month of December. Milan, they're coming off a big win against Salernitana at home. I believe it was 2-0. Let's see who scored for them on the day. It was Kessie that scored, Salaminkers that scored, and it's a big, big win for them. Big win indeed. They needed this win, and I just think that for me, this is a huge, huge win for them in the league and puts them top of the table in the Serie A. So, yeah, very, very good indeed. Now, getting back to this game, this is a huge game for Milan. I think Milan, for me, in that game against Liverpool, they really showed a lot of character to to come from behind and to make it 2-1. I know obviously Liverpool did the comeback and all, but still, they showed a lot of character to get 2 goals at Anfield. And I think for me in the Champions League, they've been very, very unlucky. I think the game against Atletico Madrid at their stadium, they shouldn't have lost that match. I think that should have been a draw. And then they played really well against Liverpool. And then against Porto, they were pretty average. I mean, and that Porto away from home, they were pretty terrible. They didn't look great. And at the home, they salvaged a point. It's a tough one to call, man. It's a very tough one to call. And you know what, guys? I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to call for Milan to win this game. I just think for me, Liverpool's B team is a whole... It's not that great. Liverpool's B team is not the same quality as their first team. And because I think Liverpool will be playing their B team here, not their first team, I think Milan could actually get the dub here. And I fancy Milan to win this. I'm going to go for a narrow 1-0 win for Milan. I just think that for me, Liverpool, they really have nothing to really play for. And I think Milan will do it. So I think Milan will actually win this game, meaning that they'll win 1-0. And I think the goal is going to come from Rafael Leo. Okay, and for PSG, I forgot to mention, I think Andrew Herrera scored, and maybe Rafinha will score. So, a 1-0 win. Let me just put that right here for you guys. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win. I'm going to go for a shock win here for Milan here. And they're playing at home as well, which I think will give them a huge, huge advantage at the San Siro. Moving on back to the Porto versus Atletico Madrid game. This is another interesting one here because Atletico Madrid are coming into this game on the brink of a 2-1 loss at home to Mallorca. Mallorca, guys. And Kubo scored at the 91st minute to seal the comeback, man. Got to give it up to Kubo. Obviously, I know a former Barcelona player and all. So, you know. Anyhow, Porto coming into this game with the fact that they're at home. And this is really interesting. You see the odds here for this game. It's really interesting. Atletico Madrid is slight favorites for this game, which I think is really, really interesting. And for Atletico Madrid, man, they have been very, very underwhelming in the Champions League. I'll be honest with you guys. They have been very underwhelming indeed. I haven't been impressed with them in the Champions League. And their only win came against Milan, which was pretty controversial to say the least. So, I don't know, man. This is a tough one to call. This is a really tough one to call. Simeone. Let's see how Porto have been doing the Liga NOS. Porto coming off with a big 3-0 win on the road against Portimao, and they just won at Vitoria 2-1. So they're coming into this one in good form indeed. In this Liga NOS, they're actually top of the top with 35 points and actually joint tied with Sporting Lisbon. So very interesting indeed. And they haven't even lost a match. My thing with Atletico Madrid is this. I think they have a great squad. But for me, they just fail to deliver on the pitch. And I just think that's going to be the problem for Simeone here is because I don't trust Simeone. I really don't trust Simeone in the Champions League. Atletico Madrid have usually tend to disappoint in the Champions League. And I just don't know, man. This is the one I can't really call, man. And with Atletico Madrid being very stumbly, very, very weird, and all that. And obviously, I know Porto have some great players. You got Luis Diaz, obviously, Marcin, that comes to mind. Um, some other players, you got Luis Diaz, Taremi, Pepe, Diego Costa, Conceição, Joe Mario, you know, the list goes on, Olivero. I just think that for me, guys, this is a tough one to call, and I'm gonna sit on the fence and say 1-1 draw. I just think that I think Porto will score first, but then I have a feeling that Atleti will equalize right at the end, but it will not be enough for them to seal through. And because I think it's gonna be a draw, which would actually suggest that Milan would actually jump ahead of Porto, be on 7 points, and Porto would actually drop to third, and Atletico Madrid would actually finish bottom. So it would actually be 7, 6, and 5. So Atletico Madrid would actually finish bottom. And yes, guys, I know it was a very controversial take, and I know many of the Atleti fans and maybe even general fans would question me, but I just have a feeling we're gonna see a draw for this one. And I just don't see Atleti doing it, man. I just don't think Atleti's doing this, man. I just don't trust them, man. But it's up for them to prove me wrong. It's up for them to prove me wrong. And I did see that Cunha did score over the weekend, so maybe he could be the one that could give some um lice. I'm not lice. Sorry, some injection to this Atletico Madrid team, and this will take place at the Estadio de Drogo Stadium. And so, man, this will be crazy, man. I think we're gonna see a surprise in this group. I think this group will be a very surprising indeed, and I'm gonna go with Milan to get the second place spot. Indeed, I know it's a very controversial pick, but I'm gonna go for it, guys. I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw. Okay, but this is a tough one to call, man. This is a tough one to call, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this group be wrong. Moving on to Group C. Group C, we have Ajax. We have the Ajax Sporting game. This game doesn't even matter for. I mean, this everything's already settled in this group, guys. Ajax have nothing to really play for. Ajax have just been too good. I mean, I'm just gonna put it this way: Ajax has been an incredible form, and I just think Ajax will win this game. 2 goals to 0. I think they'll. Actually, I'll say 3 goals to 1. I'll give Sporting a goal. Pedro Gonçalves. Ajax, I can see Haller scoring a brace, and I can see Anthony scoring a goal. I'm not gonna really focus too much on this game because, to be honest with you guys, this group is basically dead rubber. These games are already settled. There's nothing to really play for. So Ajax, I think, will win, and they're just too good. And I think they'll actually go perfect in this group, which is a big, big statement to say, guys, to go perfect in the Champions League. So let me just put that right there. Ajax, 3 goals to 1. I'm gonna put. I've been really, really impressed with the Ajax team, man. Really, really impressed. And I got to give a ton of credit to Erik ten Hag for making this team to where they are. As for the next game, we have Dortmund versus Besiktas. Dortmund are massive favorites. They're playing at home. Dortmund should win this game. I'm going to say 3 goals to. I'm going to say 4-1. I think Dortmund will concede, which is no Dortmund's defensively is not very good. And they're coming off the a loss in the Der Klassiker to Bayern at home, in which Holland scored. I believe who else scored? Jude Bellingham scored as well. And it's a big occasion for Dortmund, man. It's a big, big match. As I said, Dortmund, they're already in the Europa League playoffs, so there's really nothing to really play for them, as I said. And yeah, I just think that for me, it's over. It's over for Dortmund. And the head-to-head thing favors Sporting, by the way, so just so you guys know. So the group would finish 18, 9, 9, and 0, in my opinion. So yeah, Dortmund, I'm going to say 4-1. I could see Holland getting a brace. And I could see maybe Reina scoring. Not Reina, sorry. Royce scoring. And I could potentially see maybe Bellingham scoring. So yeah. Besiktas, their best players far with Kyle Lauren. They've conceded too many goals. Conceded way too many goals in the Champions League. So give it up to Kyle Lauren there. Let's move on to Group D. Group D, we have the big match. Actually, I'm going to do the first one first. Let's do this other match we have here, which is Shakhtar versus Sheriff. Once again, this is another group that is basically confirmed in which teams will get the Champions League, which teams. I mean, it's basically dead rubber for Shakhtar here. I mean, there's nothing to really play for. Shakhtar are the massive favorites. And for me, they've been very disappointing in the Champions League. Not going to lie, guys. They've been very disappointing indeed. As for Sheriff, they've been really, really impressive with their. I've been really impressed with their goals, their attack. Their attack's been good. Given that there's not really much to play for, guys, I'm going to say this ends in a draw. I'm going to say a boring. I'm going to say a high scoring draw. I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. I think Shakhtar will rise to the occasion. And I could see Sheriff getting something here. So I'm going to say a 2-2 draw, guys. But quite honestly, this game doesn't really matter. So, yeah. Anyways, so I'm going to go with the 2-2 draw here for this one. Hopefully, we could see Anthony and Cristiano and, of course, Adama Traore. And for Shakhtar, I need to see players like Pedrino, Lassina, Traore, Titinho to step up, Tete to step up, Fernando to step up, etc. So, let's move onward to the big one. So the big game of this group is Real Madrid versus Inter Milan. Now, Real Madrid did just come off a 2-0 win against Sociedad in La Liga. They're top of the league. They'll most likely win the league. And they've been looking really good. They've been looking really good. Now, I did hear a late positive, big news for Real Madrid is that Karim Benzema is likely to miss this match. Karim Benzema got injured against Real Madrid. I'm not sorry, not against Real Madrid. Real Sociedad. He got injured in that match, which would mean that he's going to likely miss this game, and he will probably miss the Madrid derby. And yes, the Madrid derby is coming up right after this, so should be very interesting indeed. And I might maybe consider watching that game. Maybe might. Anyhow, I just think that for Real Madrid in particular, they need to find ways to cope without him. And remember, guys, Real Madrid, all they need from this game is a draw. A draw will be more than enough for them to take through to the next round in the top of the group. Inter, on the other hand, have to win this match. Inter must win this match to theoretically top the group, and I could see this being a Real Madrid win. I just think Real Madrid are just too good. Even though Inter have been really good in the group stage and the champion in Scudetto, I just think Real Madrid and Inter is a bad matchup for Inter. I just think Inter Real, whenever the two teams face each other, I just feel like Real Madrid always edges it through, and I just don't think Inter is a great matchup for Real. Inter is going to struggle, in my opinion, especially in the possession. Since Real Madrid will have most of the possession, they'll probably have to play in the counter. And Real Madrid's defense has been pretty solid. Courtois has been amazing in goal. Then you have Militao. Nacho has been solid as well. And I just don't really think Inter can do anything from this one. And the fact that it's away at the Bernabeu as well makes things very difficult indeed. So I'm going to say Real Madrid wins 3-1 at the Bernabeu indeed. So let's see whether Real Madrid delivers or not. And even though I know Benzema is not, I know Benzema won't play. I still think Vinicius Jr. will still be enough, and I could see Rodrigo stepping up. Rodrigo scored the decisive goals against Inter Milan. He scored 2 and the one at the San Siro this season and one previous season. And I just think that Real Madrid is just too good for Inter. I really think they are. So I'm going to say a 3-1 win for Real Madrid. So that concludes the matches on Tuesday. So let's go ahead and move on over to matches on Wednesday. And we've already been 18 minutes since this video, guys. So let's go ahead and move on over to the second half of the matches. And we're going to go to Group E, which we have. It is Benfica versus Dynamo Kiev. Now, this is a big match for my team, Barcelona. Benfica basically have to win this match. Benfica have to win this match to have any chance to basically get through to the next round. A draw won't be enough. A loss certainly won't be enough, and they need to win this match. They have to win this match. They're playing at home at the Estadio de la Stadium and Lisbon. And it's going to be interesting for Benfica here because they're coming off a loss at home to Sporting Lisbon, 3-1. And even though they did beat this team 7-0, keep in mind that this team only had 9 players. This team only had 9 players as their team, and they couldn't even field a bench. So, yeah, I just think that for me, Benfica, man, this might seem like a very controversial prediction to make, but I think Benfica will screw up. And the reason why I think Benfica will screw up is I just think that Benfica, for me, man, I look at the chance that Ferovic had right at the end against Barcelona. He should have buried that away. And the fact that he missed that chance just tells me that Benfica are going to screw things up. I know that I am maybe being a bit biased in a way because, I'm a Barcelona fan, but I really do believe that this Benfica team, yeah, they're great and all, but I just think that they're going to be really up against it at Kiev. Remember, they're going to be playing with a lot of possession at home, and I just think that for me, Benfica is really good against teams that counterattack, and I just think that Kiev will make things very difficult. We saw how Kiev made things difficult for Barcelona, for them to break them down, and Kiev only conceded 2 goals. So for Benfica, I could see this being a struggle. And the fact that they're at home as well makes the even the pressure even more insane indeed. And I just think that Benfica will fold, guys. I just think Benfica will fold. I think Kiev will surprise people. And I could see Kiev actually holding Benfica to a 1-1 draw, which would mean that the Bayern versus Barca game basically is insignificant. But remember, guys, this game will take place at the same time as the Barca versus Bayern, so we won't even know what happens. So I'm gonna say a 1-1 draw, guys. A 1-1 draw, and I think Benfica will screw up. I think Benfica will actually take the lead, and then I have a feeling that Kiev will get a late equalizer through Shankovic. And I think for Benfica, it's gonna be, I'm gonna say Pizzi scores, and I think it's gonna be a draw. I think it's gonna be a draw, and I think Benfica will be sent to the Europa League playoffs. Okay, so a 1-1 draw. So, okay, now I will be doing a Bayern versus Barcelona video later in my channel. I will not be discussing about that match here. I want to save that for another video, so I will be doing a more in-depth match preview for this game on Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. I will not be talking about that match here. Okay? So, as I said, and my logic is that I just think Benfica will fold on the pressure, and like I said, I just think that, I just don't think this is going to happen. I just don't think they'll do it, guys. I really don't think so. I think Benfica will screw up, as I said, and I think that draw against Kiev on the road is going to hurt them. Remember, they did drew in the first match day 0-0, which Kiev actually should have won the match because they had a goal disallowed right at the end. So, yeah, I'm going to say a draw. And remember, Kiev can still win money from this game. They could still get 3.9 million if they do win this match indeed. Okay, let's move on over to Group F. We got the next game here, Manchester United Young Boys. This is a game that is basically dead rubber. Nothing to really play for. Manchester United have already topped the group, and that even if Villarreal do win, Manchester United have the superior head-to-head. This doesn't really matter for them. Now, for Young Boys, on the other hand, this is a big game for them because now they've come into this with 4 points, and that if Young Boys wins this match, they could put themselves in contention for the Europa League playoffs. Man, even with United's B team, I still think United should win this. I think United should win this, even with their B team players. I could see, I know they didn't, I know they lost last time around, but keep in mind, they were down to 10 men, and they only lost right at the end. Last minute of the game. And I know Young Boys did put them a lot of pressure, but I just don't think Young Boys are doing this again. I just think that the fact it's away at Old Trafford, I just think Manchester United will turn up for this game, and I could see this being a routine 3-1 win for Manchester United. I think Manchester United will get revenge for that defeat they had on the first match day. So 3-1 win for Manchester United. I could see like Greenwell getting a goal. I could see Sancho getting a goal. I don't think Ronaldo will play this game. And I could see maybe like, I don't know, Martial scoring. And then for Young Boys, I could see Sabachu probably scoring for them. All right. So let's move on over to the other game, which now is the big one we have here. And this is the one that is going to be interesting. We have Atalanta versus Villarreal. This is going to basically determine which team gets a second place spot. Atalanta have to win this match. They cannot afford a draw on this one because Villarreal are ahead of them with 7 and Atalanta 6. So basically, they have to win this. They have to win this indeed. Villarreal, man, I just haven't really been impressed with them. They've been very, very poor. They haven't really been scoring a lot of goals. Atalanta, on the other hand, can score tons of goals. But the defense for Atalanta is what makes me really concerned here. Now, for Villarreal, they do have one player back who I think could make a huge, huge difference for this team. And a huge difference, and that is Gerard Moreno. He was deeply missed against Manchester United at home, which they lost 2-0. And I think his presence alone could be enough for them to spark through. But my thing was that the Villarreal, they keep missing so many chances. They keep missing abundance of chances. It's at Atalanta Stadium. It's at the Bergamo. And I think Atalanta will win this one. I think Atalanta will win this match. And I say this because I think Atalanta is a better team. And even though Villarreal, they can't afford a draw, Villarreal, I just don't trust them. I just don't trust them, man. And I think Gasperini's done a great job with this team. And I think Atalanta will win this match very narrowly. Very narrowly. I'm going to say a 2-1 win. A 2-1 win. I think for Villarreal, the goal scorer will be Gerard Moreno. And then for Atalanta, I can see Zapata and Muriel scoring. I just think for me, Atalanta, they'll keep their heads down cool. They're playing at home. And I just think that that's going to be enough for them to seal it through. And I think Atalanta, as I said, Villarreal keep missing so many chances to score, and they're just not very clinical, man. And I just think Atalanta on their day can be very clinical indeed. And I think Atalanta can expose the Villarreal defense. So I think Atalanta will win the match 2-1. So 2-1. But I could easily be wrong, man. I could easily be wrong with this one. I wouldn't be surprised to see a draw for this one. Let's move on over to the next match. Group G, guys, which is the very interesting we have. We're getting to the nitty gritty here. We're gonna start with Wolfsburg versus Lille. Wolfsburg, man, I just haven't been impressed. I haven't been impressed with Wolfsburg. They've been very, very poor in the league. And see how close this group is, guys. 8-7-6-5. I believe this is the only group in the Champions League we don't have any team confirmed for this group. It's going to come down to the final match day. And even Lille could still finish bottom. Actually, let me think. Yes? Yeah, no way. Hold up. So let's say Wolfsburg win, right? And Sevilla win. Okay, 8, 9. No. They can't finish bottom. No, they can't. They're going to at least get third. They're guaranteed at least third in this group. They won't finish bottom. And it's really interesting because this group is really interesting because the two teams that are the weakest on paper, in my opinion, Lille and Salzburg, are actually ahead of the teams that are strongest on paper in Sevilla and Wolfsburg. Oh, man, Wolfsburg, man, I just haven't been impressed. They have been very, very poor in the league. Just lost to Mainz 3-0. Lost to Dortmund 3-1. Held at home, held on the road 2-1 to Arminia BFL. They lost 3-1 at Wolfsburg. And they just haven't been great, man. Wolfsburg, I don't know what's going on with them. They have been one of the most disappointing teams in the Champions League. I just haven't been convinced in them. Lille, on the other hand, well, they haven't really been that great in their own league as well. They've been kind of struggling as well. They've at least been doing good in the Champions League. They've at least been doing good. And I'm gonna say this, a very controversial prediction, but I'm gonna go with a Lille win on this one. I just think Wolfsburg on very, very terrible form. I just don't trust Wolfsburg. And considering how they've been doing the league and all, I just think this is toast for Wolfsburg. I think Wolfsburg will finish bottom. And I think Lille will actually win this match 1-0, which would actually mean that they actually top their group, which is something that I did not expect to say. This was a team I actually predicted to finish bottom. But yeah, I'm going to go with the 1-0 win, guys. Very, very interesting indeed. So yeah, I'm going to go with the 1-0 win for this one. I think Jonathan David's going to score the goal for them. Yeah, I just don't really trust this team, man. Just don't really trust this Wolfsburg team. RB Salzburg versus Sevilla. Now, this is a really interesting one. Obviously, it's a very, very even match. And last time around, Salzburg did actually manage to pick up a draw on the road against Sevilla, in which they had 3 penalties, guys. 3 penalties, and they missed 2 of those penalties. They probably should have won that match. Anyhow, Sevilla, man, they kind of seemingly got their act together. I think under Lopetegui, they have seemingly got their act together. Got a big 1-0 win against Villarreal at home. So it's a tough one to call, man. Salzburg, they have been kind of disappointed in the Champions League. Ever since that big 3-1 win at home against Wolfsburg, they've been kind of unconvincing, man. They lost 1-0 on the road to Lille, and they lost 2-1 to Wolfsburg. And even though this game is at home, I don't know, man. I just think that Sevilla, have picked up. I think Sevilla will pick up their act together. And I know some people will say maybe Lopetegui is trying to make the Sevilla team go into the Europa League. And maybe they'll try to win the another version of Europa League. I mean, another title with the Europa League and all. And I know. But I think Salzburg is going to disappoint. I think Salzburg, for me, Adeyemi and all. And I just think that Salzburg, man, I mean, I know they've been decent in the Champions League and all, but my thing with Salzburg is that they've just been scoring a lot of penalties, right? And I know they had that big 3-1 against Wolfsburg. We all know Wolfsburg's not been great. They scored 2 penalties against Lille. And they've only scored they've scored 3 penalties. And that game against Wolfsburg was just, Wolfsburg been really trash. So to put it this way. So it's a tough one to call, man. Tough one to call. But I'm going to go with a Sevilla win this one. I think Sevilla will get revenge. I think Sevilla will get them back. And I think Sevilla will win. I'm going to say 2-1. I'm going to say 2 on the road. I think Sevilla is finally getting things together. I think Ocampos is getting his Ocampos is good. I think En-Nesyri is looking back into form. And I just think the Sevilla team is looking great. Rafa Mira as well, Papo Gomez. The Sevilla team is looking great. The Sevilla team is looking great, and they had a good win against Villarreal. So it's a tough one to call, but I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Sevilla on this one. Maybe I might be a bit biased, but yeah. So I think Leo will actually, Sevilla would actually jump ahead of Salzburg, and Salzburg would actually finish third with 7, and Wolfsburg would finish 5. So the group would end 11-9, 7-5. But with this group, guys, I don't know what's going to happen. This group is just too hard to call. So this is a group that I wouldn't be surprised if I get these both predictions wrong. But I think Sevilla will win this one if I had to put my money on the line, and I think Sevilla will win. I think Sevilla will win 2-1 on the road. Oh, yeah, let me change that. So 2-1 on the road. Tough one to call, man. Tough one to call. And then finally, we went on to the final group. We have Group H, which is Zenit versus Chelsea. Chelsea through to the round of 16. Now, they did have a 3-2 loss to West Ham, and that was a very interesting one. Very interesting indeed, and we all know how good West Ham have been this season. For Chelsea, they need to win this match. They need to win this match because even though they have qualified, the top spot is still up for grabs, and they do have a superior head-to-head. So if they draw and Juventus draw, they would be through to the round of 16. So essentially, they need to ensure that they win this match. Now, this will be away at Russia, and we know how difficult it is to play in Russia and all. But I still believe Chelsea will win. I think Ziyech will score a goal. He's been looking good. He's seemingly saved Chelsea when they need him the most. I could see Ziyech scoring. I could see Mount scoring. And even though it was a rough win for them against Zenit at home earlier in the season, with I believe Lukaku scoring the goal. Like, let me just check the reverse fixture. I think, yeah. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Lukaku scored the 69th minute. But yeah, I just think it's gonna be a really close game. But I see Chelsea just narrowly edging this one, and I think Chelsea will win. I'm gonna say 2-0 on the road. 2-0 on the road. Okay, 2-0 on the road. I could see Mount scoring and Ziyech scoring for Chelsea, and I think Chelsea will bounce back to winning ways. Now let's move on to the other game, which we have. It is Juventus versus Malmo. Juventus, they have been kind of underwhelming. Not gonna lie in the Scudetto, but they have seemingly done well in the Champions League. And yeah, Juventus, I think they'll win this match. Malmo has been really disappointing this season in the Champions League. They have been really garbage. I just haven't been impressed with them. And to be honest with you, I'm sorry to all Malmo fans, but I think they've honestly been one of the worst teams in Champions League this season. They just look really bad. And I know they did hold in it to a draw, but still, man, they just haven't been great, conceding way too many goals. And the fact this is at Juventus Stadium as well just tells you everything. In the reverse fixture, Malmo, actually, the two teams met against each other. It was actually a 3-0 win for Juventus the first match day. So I think this one will be a comfortable win for Juventus. I'm going to say Juventus win. I'm going to say 2-0. I'm going to say 2-0 for this one. I think Dybala will score and Morata will score. I think that'll be enough for Juventus to take home the 3 points. So, yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. So those are my Champions League predictions. This video has come out to be 33 minutes, which is really, really insane. So if you guys do enjoy this kind of content, make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe on this video. I do greatly appreciate it. Make sure you guys check out me and my other platforms. Links in the description below. And make sure you guys turn the notifications on for all videos. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out.